Good morning and welcome to the Manatee Chamber and Bradenton Area Economic Development Corporation's Headliners Lunch here in June. We are thrilled to see a packed house here at the beautiful University Park Country Club. We have a number of elected officials who have joined us for this Headliners Lunch today, and I'd like to introduce them, and you can hold your applause until the end, and I hope that I catch everyone. From the School District of Manatee County, we have school board members Chad Choate, Cindy Spray, and Richard Tatum. From the 12th Judicial Circuit, we have the Honorable Melissa Gould and the Honorable Renee Inman. From the Florida House of Representatives, we have Representative Bill Connerly. And representing Congressman Vern Buchanan's office, we have Kara Misevich. Thank you so much all for joining us for today's Headliners. As always, we also want to recognize those organizations that sponsor our monthly Headliners Luncheon series. You'll see their logos on the signage on your table, as well as up on the screen. And those Headliner sponsors are Career Source Suncoast, Florida Power and Light, Manatee Health, the Mosaic Company, the Realtor Association of Sarasota Manatee, and Sherrill Wealth Management. On screen, you'll also see recognition of the platinum level investors of the Chamber, organizations in addition to the gold, silver, and bronze members that invest well beyond their annual dues to supplement programming and initiatives for the Chamber. Thank you to our platinum investors, Brown & Sons Funeral Home and Crematory, Carr, Riggs & Ingram, the City of Bradenton, Freedom Village of Bradenton, IMG Academy, Manatee County Government, Manatee Health, MCR Health, the Mosaic Company, NDC Commercial Real Estate, NDC Construction Company, the Pittsburgh Pirates and Bradenton Marauders, Raymond James Wealth Management Bruce Body, the Sarasota Bradenton International Airport, our newest platinum level investor, the School District of Manatee County, Seaport Manatee, and South State Bank. A round of applause, please, for the support of all of these organizations. Before we take a short break from lunch, I wanted to share just a little bit about how excited I am today to hear from Rick Piccolo, President and CEO of SRQ. And I may have told this story before at a previous Headliners when we've welcomed Rick and his team to give us an update about the airport. But SRQ is actually the reason I'm in Manatee County. My dad worked for Delta Airlines at LAX. I was born in Los Angeles, and in 1979, when Delta started flying into SRQ, my family transferred from Los Angeles to the Bradenton area, and so I really do credit SRQ for the reason that I'm here and that I had the childhood and now the adulthood and my professional career. So that's a lot resting on your shoulders, Rick. I also have a personal story about Rick and the type of leader and compassionate person that he is. I think he may remember this, but he may not. It was probably the second year I was on staff at the Chamber. I've been on our team for 29 years. Some of you remember what our Bradenton office building used to look like when it was freestanding. It had this large city parking lot behind us with all these rows of one-way parking. Well, there I was, 2 years on the staff, still new, still finding my way, still intimidated by just about everybody that walked through the doors of the Chamber. It was either a Chamber or an EDC board meeting day. I was leaving my parking spot behind the Chamber, and all of a sudden, crunch. I backed right into a car, having looked one way, I guess, but not the other way. I'm the heart goes, for those of you who had fender benders, right, the adrenaline, and I get out, and whose car have I run into? Rick Piccolo's car. I, of course, in that moment had my entire career flash before my eyes. I'm like, that's it, I'm getting fired. I've hit a board member, I've hit the car of the CEO of the airport, and I think his words, don't quote me on this, may have been something like, don't worry, it's a company car, you'll be just fine. So with that, he treated me with such kindness. I was probably 26, 27 years old, and I was sure that I was losing my job. So Rick has built an incredible legacy as the CEO of the airport, built an equally phenomenal team that many of us in the room here have been lucky enough to work with for many years. And so at this point, we're going to take a break for you to enjoy the start of your lunch. And when we come back, Sharon Hillstrom, the president and CEO of the Bradenton Area Economic Development Corporation, will give us a much more adequate introduction of Rick than I just have. So please enjoy your lunch, and we'll see you back up here in just a few minutes.
As Jackie mentioned, I'm Sharon Hillstrom. I'm president and CEO of the Bradenton Area Economic Development Corporation, and I am so pleased to be here today. And thank you, Jackie, for inviting me to be here to co-host this event for our good friend, Rick Piccolo. Rick is definitely a community leader whose path truly defines the phrase "from the ground up." And now I'm going to share just a little bit, and Rick's resume is so long, but here's some high points to share with you today. Rick Piccolo is president and CEO of the Sarasota-Bradenton International Airport, has built a legacy that is apparent every time you fly SRQ. His strategic vision ripples far beyond the boundaries of one of the most successful, and according to yesterday's Washington Post's ranking, one of the top 50 best airports in the nation. Rick's well-deserved retirement, I'm kind of sad, I have to tell you, is coming toward end of the year, which makes today's Headliners Luncheon even more meaningful for all of us. Rick, rest assured that we all stand ready to welcome SRQ's next CEO, but we will miss you. But we'll welcome him with open arms and help him continue building on your team's incredible track record. Throughout his 50-year career at 4 different airports, Rick's leadership has been fueled by curiosity, determination, and a relentless work ethic. He rose through the ranks within the airport industry. He started as a custodian at the Buffalo, New York airport and was quickly promoted to field maintenance, and he rose through the leadership ranks everywhere he landed, ultimately becoming one of the most respected airport CEOs in the country. He has overseen a myriad of challenges during his tenure, including multiple airport expansions, economic recessions, the trials of travel after September 11th, and most recently, navigating obstacles during and after COVID. Rick also has been an asset to our community through his service on local boards and engaging in area organizations, including Board of Trustees, University of South Florida, Sarasota Manatee, Manatee Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, and the Bradenton Area EDC Board of Directors, just to name a few. I know there are many, many more. Rick is past president of the Florida Airports Council and achieved executive accreditation to the American Association of Airport Executives, the largest professional airport managers association in the world. He also served as chairman on the board of directors of Airport Council International World, which unites all airports in the world into a single organization. His 30 years here at SRQ have transformed the airport into a thriving hub of economic activity. Today, SRQ stands as a model of strategic growth with record-setting passenger numbers. Every week there's another flight added. A vibrant aviation business community and more than 100 acres of commercial development in motion. And I don't know how many of you know, but you should know this, aviation aerospace is now the marquee sector for this region. And that is largely due to the partnership and the collaboration this economic development organization has enjoyed with Rick and his team at SRQ. This year, last year, we landed Pilatus Aircraft, a Swiss aircraft manufacturer, which was a huge coup for this area. People need to understand what an amazing catalyst that's going to be for this community. In fact, I just got back from the Paris Air Show, and we met with Pilatus, and I asked them, what were the reasons you chose this area? And, you know, they said property and workforce and things like that. But one of the things they said was we were so welcomed. And that's due to Rick and his team and this community as a whole. So we all should be so proud of that. And we appreciate, Rick, your collaboration with economic development. On a personal note, Rick is married with 3 sons and 2 grandchildren. His wonderful wife, Sally, is with us today, too. And she is an amazing part of our community. Please join me in welcoming Rick Piccolo to share an update on SRQ and what its success means for our region.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, thank you for that very kind introduction. I really appreciate it. Today, I'll go over how the airport is structured. I'll talk about air service, economics, the impacts on the community, capital programs, what the future should look like. But I always like to start out with stories about people that are users of the airport. In this particular case, it was a Minnesota couple returning to Sarasota after a very cold winter and planned to stay at the same hotel they had spent their 25th wedding anniversary at. And so it was difficult to coordinate their schedules because they both work. So the husband's coming down on a Thursday, the wife on a Friday. So the husband flew into SRQ, went to the hotel just across the way there in front of the airport, checked into the hotel, decided to send an email off to his wife, but he left a character out of that email. And somewhere in Houston was a widower coming back home from her husband's funeral. He was a minister who was called home to glory following a heart attack. The widow decided to check for messages of condolences and went in and opened the computer. After reading the first message, she screamed, she passed out, the son came into the room, and this is what it said. To my loving wife, subject, I've arrived. I know you're surprised to hear from me, but I wanted to let you know that I've just arrived and been checked in. I see everything's been arranged for your arrival tomorrow. Looking forward to seeing you then. Hope your journey is as uneventful as mine was. P.S. Sure is frickin' hot down here. Okay, so we've got you in a good mood. So hopefully you'll stay in a good mood as we go through the rest of this. First of all, what is the Sarasota Manatee Airport Authority? It's actually an independent special district. It was created by the state legislature. It's kind of a quasi-governmental corporation. I like to think it's the closest thing to private enterprise you'll find in government. It's similar to enterprise departments like the water department, where you pay a fee for the service instead of paying an ad valorem tax. But the difference is that when you get up in the morning, you don't have 5 faucets there and say, you know what, the water from Tampa is cheaper, I think I'll take a shower with Tampa water. Or the water from St. Petersburg tastes better, so I think I'll drink the St. Petersburg water. But in the case of the airport, you have a lot of choices as a consumer. You can fly out of SRQ, Punta Gorda and Fort Myers to the south, St. Pete and Tampa International to the north, and even Orlando to the east. And if you drive by our doorstep, there's no way for us to reach into your pocket and say we're an important part of the infrastructure and economic development here, and you should be paying some fee towards the operation of that airport. So we truly have to compete and be as close to private enterprise as there is. Now, our board is made up of business people, 3 from Manatee County, 3 from Sarasota County, who understand the entrepreneurial nature of the airport. If you are a politician and want to be on our board, you actually have to resign your office to serve on the board. They can serve a maximum of 2 4-year terms. They're all appointed by the governor. No, sir, they don't have to be certified by the Senate then, and they serve their terms. Now, the authority is kind of like a mini city. I get to be the mayor to some degree. We have our own police department, our own fire department. They have to meet all the same criteria as any other municipal department. All the public works you see out there, everything from plumbers to HVAC, electricians, all the landscaping, grass cutting, everything is done by our own employees. All the administrative functions are done by our own employees. Accounting, personnel, IT. We have about 200 people on our payroll, and there's about 3,500 employees that work out at the airport itself. Now, this is my favorite slide. We have no taxing power. So as I said, we're similar to enterprise-funded departments with one major difference, and that is the competition. Now, we do get grants from the state and federal government for capital projects only, and those come out of user fees. When you fly, you pay an aviation tax on your airline ticket, and airlines pay an aviation fuel tax. Those go into trust funds at the state and federal level, and we have to compete with airports throughout the country and throughout the state for grants. And we also have to match portions of that grant, anywhere from 5% to 50%, depending on the type of project. Now, the airport's in excellent shape. We have about 27 million in restricted assets right now, 40 million of cash on hand. We have over 450 million of fixed assets. We have no debt. We are one of the few airports in this country that has no debt. Tampa, thank you. Tampa International, where I worked for 3 years, is a wonderful large hub airport. But if you look at their books, you'll find that they have $1.7 billion worth of debt on their books. We have signatory airline agreements with 6 airlines: Delta, American, JetBlue, United, Southwest, and Allegiant. Those are 10-year agreements. We have 5 airlines that are non-signatory. The difference between the two is a signatory carrier has to, if they leave, they have to pay us rent for the total term of the lease. When you're talking about rents of $1 to $2 million a year, that's quite a commitment to the marketplace. These 6 airlines also take care of 97% of our airline traffic. The 5 that are non-signatory pay a 10% premium on landing fees and rent, but they can leave after 30 days. The airport has a net surplus each year of between $10 to $12 million a year, which goes into our reserves, which then uses as matching funds for capital programs. So our airport operations are totally self-sufficient. We have no debt. We have plenty of money in the bank. If we were truly a private company, Jeff Bezos would be in Venice looking to buy the airport. This is another impressive slide. In 2022, the Florida Department of Transportation did an economic impact study on all 20 commercial service airports in Florida, and that revealed that little old SRQ is responsible for over 23,000 jobs in the community and has an annual economic impact on this community of $3.2 billion a year. Every year, year after year, at zero cost to you as a taxpayer. The only time we make money on you is when you use a service at SRQ that you'll use at those other airports if you decide to fly out of those airports. Now, we've seen a lot of growth. This was 2018, 6 airlines, 12 nonstop destinations, mostly to hub cities. So you could get pretty much anywhere in the country and to Europe with one stop, but still you had to go through a hub. Today, 11 airlines, 68 nonstop cities. We even have Orlando and Miami on there that were recently announced. So we continue to see terrific growth in just that 5-year period. I think this is one of the more interesting slides in the sense that when you look at this graph, if you take a look at those first couple years, 2016, 17, 18, you could go back a decade and that graph would pretty much look the same, up 1%, down 1%, up 2%, down 3%. And then you see in 2019 a significant rise to almost 2 million passengers. That's when Allegiant Airlines decided to start service here, and we started to see significant growth. But then 2020, COVID hit, and we were right back down to where we were previously. The difference was that we were used to surviving and running a budget that ran a surplus with those numbers of passengers. So for us, it wasn't really that big a deal. And many airports in this country and many in the world were down anywhere from 75 to 95%. We were down just about 33%. One of the things that I always say, and unfortunately it is that COVID was the best thing that happened to SRQ. Because after a few months, people wanted to go somewhere. Businesses weren't flying, so airlines were looking for leisure destinations where people could be outside, socially distance, and enjoy. Now, we have the best beaches, best golf courses, great boating, fishing, and the governor kept the state open. So you could actually go to a restaurant or an event and enjoy yourself. And pretty soon, airlines started putting service in here and more service and more service. And as you can see, Southwest jumped in. And in that first year of 2021, we were at almost 3.2 million passengers, a massive new record for us. And we continue to rise right through 2023 to 4.3 million. And in 2024, we were on our way to 4.5 million until we had 3 hurricanes. Now, we are down about 75,000 for the year, but I'm pretty confident we'll hit that 4.5 million this year and continue on the rise as we continue to grow. And this is just another graph that shows, even in Florida during that 5-year period, we were far outpacing any other airport in growth, even in Florida. So it wasn't just that it was all of Florida, it was particular to Sarasota-Bradenton. And this shows you where we are right now for the total seats that are in the system right now for the next few months. So we should continue to see growth in our traffic this year. Now, there were some projects that were mandated by that growth. One of the first ones was a fuel farm expansion. When we started to grow so fast, we were actually running out of fuel on a daily basis. Now, that is not a good operation, that if you're going to run an airport to run out of fuel on a daily basis, because it forced airlines that wanted to service to tanker fuel in, which means they had to have enough fuel on the aircraft to get here and then get to their next destination. That adds a lot of weight to the plane, which means they burn fuel faster and therefore was more costly. So one of the first projects was a fuel farm expansion. We had 90,000 gallons of fuel capacity. We spent about $5 million and quickly added 300,000 gallons more fuel capacity. We also expanded our parking lot, the existing long-term lot. We added about 140 paved spaces, and we had a field next to our shade lot, and we added a couple hundred spaces there. We put in a new ground transportation that opened this year. It's got a larger staging area. It's covered. All the TNCs, Uber, Lyft, that type of thing, have an area for them. MCAT and SCAT can be there, and the shuttle. So it's a whole new center. It's one that has cover for all the passengers that go out there, unlike our old one. And right in there, the center of it is also a driver's lounge that will open shortly. Keeps the drivers out of the heat. They have some vending machines in there and restrooms. That was a $10 million project. We expanded our security checkpoint at Terminal B, first from 4 lanes to 5, and then 5 to 6. And Terminal A has 3 lanes of its own. As you can see now, we started to add parking. I'll try to run you through some of this. In the far right corner there where you see the green, that's a 500-space parking lot off Bradenton Road, Old Bradenton Road and University. The yellow right next to it is where the new cell phone lot is. That pink that you see is a temporary lot for now, and then those other 2, green and blue, were lots where they had 140 spaces and 240 spaces were added. Up on the far right, or far left rather, in yellow, is a new park and ride lot that's about 500 spaces and another temporary lot up there. So we're over 3,500 spaces now. Originally we were at about 1,600. And I'll show you later the plans for the future as it relates to parking, but we really had to get our parking in order pretty quickly. Over the Thanksgiving holidays, we park about 4,000 cars a day. This is another one that shows the West Apron expansion where Delta is. We added 3 spots for what we call RON flights, remain overnight. We now have 5 RON spaces. In the height of the spring break, all 18 gates are occupied and other flights have to park out there after they arrive to allow other flights to get in. And then in the morning, all 18 gates are occupied. First flights go out, and those aircraft then can be moved in and leave an hour later rather than have to wait for them to arrive. We also had to expand our employee parking lot because as we grew, obviously the employee workforce that works at the airport grew tremendously. We have a new cell phone lot. We're real proud of it, about 152 spaces. It's got restroom facilities, vending machines, flight information screens. One of the unique things about this is there were some homeless camps right near the airport. So we had to fence it, put some barbed wire around it. The way the restrooms are designed, you can see those doors are open and you have a serpentine entrance to those so that people can't turn those into their private showers at night. We have a gate on there, so in the morning we unlock the gate, the police check the restrooms to make sure nobody's jump the barbed wire fences, and then at night we lock it up. There's also 16 video cameras in there. In fact, we have about 250 cameras throughout the airport, 16 digital recorders. We see every gate, every perimeter. We see everything in the terminal, where all the doors are, where all the terminals are, and we have 16 digital recorders, so behave yourself or you'll be on YouTube the next day. We expanded. This was the beginning of the new terminal. This was the East Terminal apron. It was a $10 million project just to expand that apron. And what you see below that is the shade lot, and that grass area no longer exists. That's where the new terminal is. We added new escalators and doubled the number of escalators at the airport as part of that project. That was about a $5 million project. We've added a new consolidated baggage system. For those that remember, the old baggage system, you had Area A, Area B, Area C. They were not interconnected. So if an area's baggage belt or a machine went down, we have about 20 people who were on the payroll who did nothing but stand next to the baggage belts and wait for something to break, and then have to take carts and move bags by hand to a baggage belt that was working. This was a $50 million project. It's totally integrated. You can see where the 3 machines are. There's room for a 4th one. The latest technology, they're all brand new machines. They doubled the capacity of every machine to clear bags and gives us plenty of capacity for the future. And if some area breaks down, it automatically diverts to the other. And the technology is much better to ensure your safety on the flight. This is the new 5-gate terminal. Allegiant, I'm very pleased to say that before we even finished it, Allegiant took all 5 gates. Now, they had 3 gates at Terminal B that they gave up that other airlines are looking at. But this means that they've increased their gate capacity by 40%. They've already added 8 cities in just a few months they've been in that terminal, and we expect further growth from them. You can see that very large atrium area is where the concessions area is, and just prior to that is where the security checkpoint is. And I'll show you some other things and developments on that as the future. This is the front. This is the security checkpoint. We have a lot of modern amenities there, including some rather significant mother's feeding room, dog restroom with its own fire hydrant, and a family restroom as well. So you can take care of whatever business you have to take care of. The other thing we were real pleased with as we grew is our concessions contracts were expiring at the same time, and we were able to get a lot of local interest in the concessions. In Terminal A is Anna Maria Oyster Bar and Patrick's 1481. Madison's just opened in Terminal B. There's a new Starbucks, some new restaurant facilities still to come. Motorworks will be in Terminal B. You'll also have Wahlburgers. I don't know if Mark Wahlberger will come here for the opening, but that should be here by fall. All those new restaurant facilities will be done by the fall, and Madison's is just doing great in the first week that it's been open. Now, all these projects I've talked about, the terminal was $110 million, and people will ask me, why is it a ground-based terminal? There was a couple of reasons. First of all, if we had put a second floor on, it would have cost $50 million more. But more importantly, we were growing at 300%. Now, I've been in this business, unfortunately, for 50-plus years, and the most growth I've seen at very high-growth airports is 10 to 15% in a year. There was no playbook on 300% growth. But what we knew is if we didn't do something quickly, we would lose all those services because there just wouldn't be capacity for them. So when I went to the board, the first slide that I showed had nothing but verbiage on it, and it said, time is our enemy. And we had to get that project done as quickly as possible. By going to a ground-based terminal, one that we already knew a number of airlines were more than willing to accept, it saved a year of construction. And I want you to think about this. We opened that terminal in January. If we had gone to a second-level loading terminal, we still would not be opening until next year in January. Far too late. So that was one of the reasons for it. So I've told you about $100 million here, $50 million here, $10 million here. This is a $2.5 million project, a joint project with the Bradenton Area Convention and Visitors Bureau in Manatee County. And I have to say, it's probably our most popular project. Cheapest, but most popular. This is a pretty neat project. It's got a viewing area with history displays on it. You've got a playground that was sponsored by Allegiant Airlines. That's an aircraft and a tower. The kids, you see them out there all the time. And it's got a speaker system. So when you're sitting there, you can actually hear the tower transmissions to the aircraft you're watching to take off. There's some ongoing construction projects going on. One is a general aviation customs facility. For those that don't know, we are an international airport that has the customs facility under Terminal B. We can clear a wide-body jet and clear 300 passengers per hour. But right now, we do about 750 international private aircraft a year. And in the old days, before we grew, they would park at gate B8, and the customs officer would come out. Unfortunately, we need those gates all the time, so now they're actually clearing them remotely, which was quite an effort to get the Customs and Border Protection to agree to that. But we're building a new $10 million facility on the north side of the airfield to clear all those customs flights, and we expect that to continue to grow as well. This is something that Sharon was talking about earlier. This is the North Quad development. About 10 years ago, we decided that we wanted to get this developed. So we put about $15 million of airport funds in there, and we built roads and water and sewer and electrical lines, and then we went out and started marketing to different aircraft providers. And what you see here is up in this corner here on the right where you see those 4 orange, that's Sheltair. That's a $45 million private investment in what we call fixed base operator. That's our third FBO, general aviation facility, $45 million. Next to that is a new maintenance center. Those 4 little hangars that you see off to your right, those are private hangars. We have those all leased out. And then this area right in front, this area here, that's where Pilatus is going to go. Pilatus is building a $40 million maintenance and marketing center, that part on the right, the parcel C, smaller part. And they are at 60% plans, even though it's in a 5-year plan. They are already at 60% drawings for their assembly facility that is going to be 110,000 square feet, building PC-24 business jets. Those are $13 million jets, hold 9 to 13 passengers. They will create 500 high-paying jobs just in that facility alone. So we're really, really happy with that. And that will be continued growth with other aviation manufacturers also showing up at our door. The other thing we're real proud of is we've been working with the school district on an aircraft maintenance, airframe, and power plant school. We've worked on it for a number of years. I expect that they'll be done and hopefully breaking ground soon, because we did a groundbreaking a couple of years ago. But with the addition of Pilatus and the kind of job opportunities that'll be here, we're real proud of this because it'll create these job opportunities for our children and grandchildren. When you graduate from high school, in 18 to 24 months, you can get your A&P license. Boeing estimates the need for aircraft mechanics at 630,000 mechanics over the next 2 decades worldwide. So this will create worldwide opportunity for our children and grandchildren. But with the addition of Pilatus and Elixir's another aircraft company that's coming here from France, we think there'll be a lot of job opportunity right here in the community, and that helps with the economic development of the community and shows the economic impact of the airport at no cost, again, to you. The other thing we like about this is there's a very good A&P school up in St. Petersburg. It's called National Aviation Academy, but it's a private school. It's $50,000 to get your A&P license. Here, it will be somewhere between $13,000 to $15,000. So not only do our children and grandchildren get the opportunity to learn here and work here, but they don't have to be burdened with a lot of school debt as well at the end. Some future growth projects are coming along. This is where Terminal A is. That part you see in the center there is a second level 3-gate connection for Terminal A, so that eventually what you'll have happen is people will only go through the security checkpoint that you go through for Terminal B now to expand to 11 lanes. We'll close that security checkpoint at Terminal A to become more ticket counter, and you'll go through security, you'll make a right turn to go through Terminal A, you'll go straight through Terminal B, and somewhere 20 years from now, Terminal C will be to your left. This will be where that wall is between Anna Maria and Oyster Bar and Patrick's 1481. That will be blown out, and that's where that Terminal A will connect with elevators and escalators and stairwells. And this will be in the middle there where Terminal B is now. It'll add more restaurants, retail, as well as expanded security checkpoint. That is estimated to cost about $150 million. I don't think the airport will be debt-free anymore. And this is some future project where we're looking at fuel farm expansion. We want to add 400,000 gallons of fuel as we continue to grow. We're going to do a baggage claim expansion that will add so that 2 airlines at each baggage belt can unload at the same time. We want to fill in this pond so that we can add more employee parking and put all that underground, and we're actually going through the drainage permitting process right now. And then this is the other project. It'll be a parking garage that will have 4 stories. It will have ground transportation in there. Baggage claim will be in there, as well as 4 stories and rental cars. Rental car offices will be in there, all directly across the street. That is a $350 million project. And then we can also add some more office space there as well. Finally, that's that connector to Area A. And Concourse A can also be expanded where the shade lot is once we finish that parking lot and add more gates there as well. Eventually, you can have 32 gates in the final master plan of the airport. Somewhere around 14 million passengers can be handled. We just advertised for a new receiving and distribution center so that every receiving and distribution can be there so that not all a bunch of trucks are running around the aircraft ramp. And that is a look at all the projects that are going on, and then we have 75 acres up on that red area up there that we're going to start to develop as an industrial park that we own, and we see a lot of interest from a lot of the aviation suppliers for all these manufacturers looking at that area as well. So with that, I'm happy to take any questions, and that's what the past, present, and future looks like. Thank you. Well, Breeze is already here, so I anticipate that we'll see continued growth. It's certainly not going to be that 300%. We project growth to be somewhere in the 3 to 5% a year. We have most domestic carriers. The only airline we don't have of any size that's domestic is Spirit. And now that we're getting more gate space, certainly that's a possibility. And the other 2 domestic carriers that we don't have is Alaska and Hawaiian Airlines. So we have 11 of the 14 domestic carriers. And we also think that eventually we'll get international charter.
Oh. Hi, Rick. I always love hearing you speak about the updates to the airport. I noticed they mentioned a lot of the airports are getting those high-capacity scanners and security. Do we have those, or will we be getting them?
Yeah, we have some now. We have some of the latest technology. Not every lane has it, and that's up to TSA to do that rather than us. I will say that we are one of the few airports that changed to a private security. The people that you see at the security checkpoint are not TSA employees. They are private employees under a program that TSA has called the Screening Partnership Program. And we're very proud of the work they do. They're very customer focused. And during the Thanksgiving holiday, our longest waits were about 12 minutes. So they're very, very efficient, and we're very pleased with the program. Well, thank you all. Appreciate it.
So for those of you who hadn't heard Rick speak in the past, and maybe even for those of us that have heard him now for 30 years here in our community, you can see why his vision and his team's execution of the strategic plan for SRQ is such an asset to business and economic development. So Rick, thank you so much. We appreciate you being with us today. When we booked Rick as our June headliners speaker many months ago, right? His retirement upcoming retirement had just been announced. That date has been somewhat of a moving target, although you sound convinced that it is now going to be November, correct? And you all may have seen the news release this week about the new CEO being named, and as Sharon mentioned, we are thrilled and waiting to help welcome him with open arms and extend a bit of that hospitality that we all, what'd you say? So yes, I know you are. But in all of the planning for thinking that really the initial retirement date was going to be June 30. So we had booked Rick for Friday, with his last day on the job at that time many months ago being next Monday. And so we had some plans around how we would want to, honor his service and commitment. So now some of that is delayed a bit because it would be a little bit weird and awkward to do it now. But one thing that we decided to still move ahead with was a personalized cookie. So you don't have dessert on your table, but you'll be grabbing dessert on your way out. And I'll see if you can see. But we have these these fantastic cookies with Rick's picture on them from Frosted Pink. So thank you so much to our good friends at Frosted Pink for supplying those cookies. I would imagine, Sally, you need to take about a dozen home for those grandkids, because there'll be some fun around that. So, but in all seriousness, again, thank you. More accolades and thanks to come, but we are so appreciative of you and the team that you've built. So with that, just a couple closing remarks. Please, again, thank you. And share your gratitude for the sponsors of our Headliners series. It makes this type of programming available to the business community. We are grateful to you all. Thank you so much to Chris and the team at Manatee Educational Television. Although if you've watched, Chris didn't really have a team here today given their busy schedule. So thank you so much to Manatee Educational Television. So a rebroadcast of this will be available on their YouTube channel. A couple upcoming things of interest to you. We've got our July Coffee Club, which is also a nonprofit showcase coming up in July. We'll have more than 30 of our Manatee and Sarasota-based nonprofits reaching out to the business community via the Chamber's Coffee Club. So we hope you'll consider joining us. No charge to attend. Our next Headliners Luncheon will be in August, and as has become tradition, we will welcome the school district of Manatee County to give us kind of a back-to-school look ahead at the academic year. So that is on August 20th, and we'll be at the Grove in Lakewood Ranch. And then really important, a signature celebration in Manatee County to honor small businesses. The Chamber's annual Small Business of the Year Awards is coming up in August as well. You'll want to secure your tickets. That is a sellout event typically, in which we can recognize and honor the phenomenal foundation that small businesses play in our local economy. So please make plans to join us the day after you join us for Headliners. You'll be with us for the Small Business of the Year Awards. With that, thank you so much, Sharon and your team at the EDC, for being a partner with us today in this luncheon, and I wish you all a happy weekend and a great afternoon.